Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Sophisticated Sunday. I'm going to be your reader, Nexo, and I drop it low for Jesus. And this is my co-host,
Osun, Funke. Don't fuck with me.
And this is my other co-host.
I'm Peach Blossom, and I do my dirty wine while keeping the Lord in mind.
All right, so we're going to be talking about white Jesus and black Jesus in today's episode.
Hallelujah.
Okay, let's just start off this way. What's the difference between white Jesus and black Jesus?
Everything.
What does that mean? Everything?
Everything.
I mean, okay, so the white Jesus is...
Black Jesus got a big dick?
Oh, God.
Possibly.
So...
You think
the white Jesus is a complete and total fabrication. I think we can all agree that there is no reason, anthropologically, genetically, historically, that Jesus would have ever been a white man coming from North Africa, because that's where the whole Bible takes place, is in and around North Africa.
Right.
Let's just get that out there. So white Jesus would be a complete fabrication.
White Jesus is a lie.
Is he a liar or is he's a lie?
He's a lie.
Okay. In the sense that
the people that preach about white Jesus are liars.
Mm-hmm.
He is a lie used to control slaves.
Mm-hmm.
He
a tool of white supremacy.
Yes, very much so. A tool of white supremacy. He's a fake. He's a phony. He doesn't exist.
Who was black Jesus? Tell us.
That's the real Jesus.
I mean, if there was a real Jesus.
I don't doubt that Jesus was here and that he walked this earth. But that would be the real Jesus.
But you don't think that the story of Jesus as it's told, the virgin birth and, just all of that, I mean, it's an allegory. That story has been told so many times in so many different cultures.
Yes, that's very true. From the story of Horus,
Mm-hmm.
It's always, if you look in different religions, it's always the virgin birth and all that. So this story has been told millions of times before, and all of a sudden, when we get to America, it's white Jesus. Whatever.
Well, it was before America. The British authored that.
How do y'all use white Jesus in y'all's spiritual work?
I don't.
Do you use white Jesus?
Do I use white Jesus for anything?
As a fodder for jokes.
Yes, a fodder for jokes, a punching bag for jokes, an example of a weak ass deity. Anyway, so okay, in y'all's personal experiences, how did Jesus work for y'all?
Very, very slow. Long suffering.
Both of y'all were in the Church of Christ, so
yes,
Christ
indeed. Orleans Road Church of Christ, Memphis, Tennessee. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I was raised Church of Christ for a period of my childhood. How did Jesus work for me? I mean, I guess Christ consciousness is something that I do think has value.
Yes.
I think that if people did the things that Jesus told us to do in the Bible, in the New Testament, I think that the world would be a much better place. So I look to the teachings of Jesus for, just a way to live, an understanding of my responsibility as a human being and the responsibility that I have to other human beings, and a responsibility that I have to the Most High God. I mean, I can say that much. I do think that there is a lot of value in Christ consciousness, and I think that it's sad that people throw the baby out with the bathwater. As we begin to awaken and as we begin to revisit, ancestral traditions, there is a tendency for us to be like, fuck that shit when it comes to church and when it comes to Christianity, and I get it. But I don't know that that's the most reasonable approach, because I do think that there is some value, in the teachings of the Christ.
I remember waking up and realizing that white Jesus was a complete lie, and remembering just being so angry when I would hear that a black person is at church. Like, why?
But we have to separate. Well, you know, really, I'm exhausted with the idea of church and Jesus. I'm over it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard for me to even engage in conversation about it. I know that that's where some people are, and I believe you have to meet people where they are, but I'm not really trying to meet anybody. You know, it's like, come to me. When the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my stance on it. You know, the people that I work with and the people that I intend to assist in their evolution, they gotta be past that. I can't have the Jesus discussions anymore. I can't do those debates. I don't have.
No, I will not participate in the white Jesus debate. Period. Because if you're still holding on to white Jesus, and I won't say you're a lost cause because you can wake up, but I'm not going to entertain you.
Can you achieve a Christ consciousness practicing African spirituality?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is Christ consciousness? How do you all define that?
I think that Christ consciousness has everything to do with understanding that we are pieces of creation. We are individual expressions of the Most High God. You know, Jesus told us, as I told you, you are gods. You know? So, yeah, I think Christ consciousness has everything to do with understanding that we are parts of the all.
And, you know, I had a conversation with you, Dave. I think one of the first conversations we had. And, you know, you said Christ never told us to worship him. He said, be like him.
Exactly.
So that means we can perform miracles. We can turn, why can't we turn
greater
water?
Works than these will you also do.
We can turn water into wine. You know, and if I'm like this, if you want to practice Christianity, I'm going to make sure you're the best Christian.
Greetings, I am Reverend Priestess Osun Funke. I would like to invite you personally to book an Ancestral Life Path reading with me. If you're interested in learning how to work with your ancestors, how to make appropriate offerings, or how to set up your ancestor altar, I can help you. Please visit www.blackspectrumnetwork.com.
You're going to follow that book to the freaking T. I tell you that.
Well, then they got to stop going to church on Sunday.
They
gotta go. They gotta go on Saturday, like the good book said, like the 10 Commandments commanded.
You know, I would. My hope and prayer is that Black people wake up, because part of white Jesus and that whole religion or culture, we condemn ourselves so much. I went through life feeling so guilty about everything.
And foul.
Sex is normal. It's normal for you to want sex. And I used to feel disgusted. You know, it's a lot of people, including myself, and I'm not ashamed to say, that really had a problem being intimate or open in the bedroom or doing whatever gets you there, because this is wrong. I shouldn't do it, but it's natural. You know what I mean? And to follow the white Jesus culture is just to condemn yourself for life, and I'm not here for it.
Well, I think that one thing people need to know about me is that I'm actually a biblical scholar. I'm minored in theology. I read the Bible. I have read the Bible many times. I know the Bible better than most Christians, which is why I'm just so over it, because speaking to Christians, Christians don't practice Christianity.
They don't.
You know what I mean? Christians in America do not practice Christianity. They go to church on Sunday.
Really? Christians don't practice
Christianity?
Christianity?
They don't practice Christianity.
What does that mean? Yes, they do.
No, they don't. They got...
Let God be true quickly. That's what LGBT means. They practice.
Oh my God. No.
I'm not gay no more because of Christianity. I'm saved and delivered. Thank you, white Jesus.
You gonna go right to hell, right here in this.
Look, I'm fanning the flames.
A trap door is gonna open up, and I'm gonna fall right into it, and it's gonna be a rainbow slide leading me straight to hell.
And starbursts falling from the sky. Skittles raining from the sky.
Yes.
Okay, so I wanted to then ask you all, what's your personal opinion of melanated, people of African descent, giving readings to people using the energy of white Jesus, but they don't work with their ancestors?
I don't even understand what you're talking about. I can't answer that. What?
What? That doesn't make sense. I just want you to work with somebody that looks like you at least. Yeah.
So how do y'all feel about black people giving readings and prefacing their readings with a prayer to white Jesus and Jesus delivering
How do you
them?
know it's the white Jesus?
Maybe it may be talking to black Jesus.
Well,
They may be.
which leads to this question.
What a ridiculous.
Has black Jesus been given enough opportunity to show his strength?
Hell yeah. And he ain't. Yes. And he ain't did. You know, the thing that got me, y'all, what really like woke me up, and I swear to you, was this question here. If the slaves and the slave master was praying to the same Jesus, well, which prayer was he listening to? Because he sure as fuck wasn't listening to my ancestors' prayers, I tell you that. And that is what turned me off completely. I was just like, you're right. We were praying to the same God, and look who's prevailing.
Right
Donald Trump is president, for God's sakes.
Well, I overheard this earlier, prior to us recording, that this person espoused this idea that there's this psychological, basically there's a very quick psychological processing that happens when black people go to Jesus with their sins, that they don't realize that they are expecting a white man to fix their problems, and the real world effects that has on them is that they don't trust in a person that looks like them to solve their problems, and they're more trusting of people outside of their kinship.
Yes, it's very true.
Do you?
I wholeheartedly agree. You know, you have to think that Christianity, as we know it, taught us that everything that we practice, our ancestor practiced in Africa, was evil. You know, I love my mom, but she'll say, you know, they worship devil and they do that voodoo stuff and this and that, the other. And I'm like, do you even know what voodoo is? Do you really understand it? Who told you
that voodoo was
voodoo was evil?
Yeah.
Who told you that Ifa was evil? Who told you that what our ancestors practice was evil? Who told you that? You know what I mean? And so it's just I just to look up to. I've had to check myself because I'll end up just not liking that whole race because we've been lied to, and I am just totally against following white Jesus doctrine because it causes you to live in a state of illusion. A state of long suffering, a state of waiting for life to happen to you instead of you using your ancestors and deities to make things happen in your life. So that's my opinion.
The question I guess that I have is, who is Black Jesus, and when did that become a thing? You know, did we just wake up one day like in the 60s and say, you know what, Jesus wasn't white, you know, and then he became Black Jesus? Because I don't think that a lot of people who practice Christianity who are melanated actually think about Jesus being Black. I think we've taken down the pictures of the white Jesus, but I think he's still lurking in our subconscious. He's still hiding in the closet. You know, I don't think that they've ever done the math, so to speak, and say, okay, well, I'm going to worship this dude. I'm going to be Christian. That's where I feel comfortable. But let me unpack this whole mythology of Jesus, you know. His mother's name wasn't Mary. You know what I mean? His name wasn't even Jesus. Yahshua ben Yosef. You know what I mean? Like, and then you guys, can we just take a moment to deal with the fact that Jesus was a Jew? And that he was completely and totally concerned with the fate of the Jews, of the Hebrews, which would have excluded him from even considering or addressing the needs and the plight of all of Lower Africa, which is where most of us who come from the diaspora are from. Now, I don't dispute the fact that the original Hebrews were African or of African descent. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I believe that Oh boy, I was about to really just go in on something.
Oh.
I think it's interesting, and you guys can research this to find out the truth on your own, but it was because of the, I don't even want to go there. I'm going to say that I do believe that the original Hebrews were melanated.
Yes.
I do believe that they were from the areas in and around North Africa. Jesus was concerned with those people. He wasn't concerned with our ancestors.
With the Gentiles.
Yeah. And so, I think that that's a significant thing for us to think about, That's it.
Okay. So, in Ifa, how do you all understand Jesus' role in present day society?
I don't understand.
Well, how does
I mean, that's my answer. I don't understand. I can't speak for every devotee or practitioner of Ifa, but I don't understand how in 2019 people are still comfortable with practicing a religion that was brought to them with the sword, a religion that has become and still is to this day a tool of white supremacy. It's not something that I can understand, So
there's no Jesus, Arisha?
Boy.
Yeah, y'all don't shot no goat throat or
Hell.
leave no wine for Jesus?
There's no Jesus,
No.
Arisha, and you know it.
Hell no.
No Arisha of forgiveness?
Hell.
Greetings, I'm Priestess Peach Blossom. If you would like to know more about the traditions and practices of Southern Hoodoo, you can sign up for my mentorship program at www.blackspectrumnetwork.com.
How does Jesus work in hoodoo?
Good question.
Now I can answer that. Go ahead, Peach.
You have to understand that a lot of our ancestors did worship Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our ancestors went to church every Sunday night and Wednesday and the whole revival. So in hoodoo, we do. I have my grandmother's Bible on my altar. I do spells from the Bible. I pray certain psalms in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do recognize that they did worship Christ, and I was just telling Dava, and she knows these hymns very well. I still sing, the Church of Christ hymns, because I feel connected to my ancestors. This is who they did worship. And even I can still turn on, y'all don't know the gospel station, but the gospel station in Memphis, and I will sing along because I know that my ancestors sung along. They love that, but I don't necessarily go to Jesus first. I go to my ancestors, but I do recognize that they did practice Christianity, and I do honor them, and I do pray when I do prayer and meditation with them. I do pray with my Bible, yes. So if you think that you're not going to use your Bible and you want to practice hoodoo, you are sincerely wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with that. There's an element of that I still observe too. I actually have a Bible on my ancestor altar.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible itself says, don't forsake the God of your mothers. And my mother was very Christian,
yes.
her mother and her mother.
Yes.
But I also understand that, and I said this in a previous broadcast, that melanated people are so dynamic and so resilient that we will be who we are under whatever conditions we find ourselves. So my mother and my grandmother and my great-grandmother were priestesses of Ifa because that is my bloodline, but they had Christianity forced upon them, and so they became priestesses of Christ. They became prayer warriors and missionaries and devout Christian mothers who, were their white and served on the usher board, and they dealt with spirit in the way that they were taught and allowed to do so.
Yes.
And again, like I said, I don't believe in throwing out the baby with the bathwater. I think that there are absolute jewels and gems and very valuable lessons and information that one can gain from reading the Bible and from making Christ consciousness a goal. But I think the same thing could be said for the Holy Quran. I think the same thing could be said for some of the Hindu texts and absolutely the oral traditions of West Africa. You know, I know that God is God.
Yes.
You know, and I know that there is one creator of
Yes.
all things.
Yes.
And I think that our goal as individuals, as human beings, is to return to the all. And I think that in our quest to do that, we must live a certain way. We must raise our vibration. We must be kind to one another. We must have respect for nature and all that entails. And I think that those are common threads in every organized religion, and Christianity is no different. And so I don't condemn people for being Christian if they are actually being Christian. What I detest is hypocrisy and ignorance. And that is what I find to be most prevalent in Christian communities across the globe, but especially within our community. Right. You know, you want to call yourself a Christian and you get up and go to church on Sunday. You're violating the 10 Commandments. You got a picture of Christ in your house or Christ hanging from the cross, Catholics, and the 10 Commandments clearly say, make no graven image. You know, that type of just blatant hypocrisy, just the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Is the only you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, next, I'd like to ask, how does Haitian voodoo use white Jesus?
There, what is it? 70% of Haitians are Christian, but they're all 100% voodoo.
Right.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you know, the most that I can say is that when I was with my god sister Atasa. So hit the skull emoji for my god sister Atasa.
Yes, Atasha.
When we were in the mountains in Tigua, and this woman was she was at a temple, and she was like on a cliff, and she was like, Yeshua! Yeshua! Hallelujah! Hallelujah! And it was echoing, And my god sister said, she doing all that shit, Jesus don't hear her? We in fucking Haiti. What does she mean? The Lord are here. They are here right now. Jesus don't hear you. He's not going to hear your prayers. You still poor. You still broke. You still in Haiti. She went off. And they work with Jesus down there. But anyway, that's being said, Jesus doesn't have... there's definitely synchronicity using the saints of Catholicism, synchronizing those particular deities, but it's to add power to the ritual or to even just to disguise the work to the general public. So it serves those purposes. It's not for veneration of European inventions, especially white Jesus. So
Hello.
sociologically, there's definitely a huge influence on the ways in which Haitian people practice Haitian voodoo, but Christianity does not influence Haitian voodoo, the religion.
God.
So that's just that. But let's talk about Jesus working slow. So y'all said that Jesus works slow.
He does.
And sometimes we get clients because it's Black Spectrum Network, and we know that our clients are more likely than not going to come from a Christian background. They've worked with Jesus. Jesus worked slow. They prayed all their life. They've given up on religion, given up on spirituality. They don't think prayer works, meditation works. They're skeptical about magic. What can they expect from spiritual work? From the spiritual work that you all do, what can they expect? Because they've given up on Jesus, now we got to lead them somewhere else. Somebody comes to y'all for a cleansing bath. A general cleansing bath.
So
Okay.
Should they get baptized or should they?
let me try to give a very quick pre-primer course in African spirituality. And
Fuel my fire, take me higher, I'll be your light.